This is why I chose to move to Bangkok, Thailand over any other place in the world as a cybersecurity professional. And I've been living here for about a month now, so I can say these things with confidence. I'm pretty aware of the pros and the cons here as well. And number one is that this place is world class as far as travel hubs go. The Bangkok airport is a major airport that is very close to a lot of really top tier destinations. Now, this is a massive change for someone like me that's an American. Maybe some of you Europeans, have it a little bit better in this regard, but for Americans, we're so isolated out there that if I wanted to go outside of America that's not somewhere like, say, Canada or Mexico, or even some of the Caribbean islands and things like that, we're talking about a really significant amount of travel, expensive flights, a long travel time, all of that. Now, here in Bangkok, I can get a flight to anywhere in Asia pretty much for under $200, and I can get there in under 6 hours, pretty much anywhere. So that opens up immense opportunities to take weekend trips to places like Japan, Korea, Philippines, Bali, wherever you want to go in this part of the world. It's super accessible. And because it's such a major airport, you can often find direct flights as well. So another major factor in coming here is pretty much no work culture. More or less does not exist here. And knock on wood, but I don't think it will ever really exist here in the way that it does in the West, because the culture is a lot different, which is a point that I'll get to later in the video. But I don't think that it really aligns with a lot of people's values here, and I don't really see it catching on. So it is a nice little safe haven from that. Let me just say that, I've walked into a bunch of malls here, a bunch of shops, and never once have I seen a fat mannequin. So life is good here in Thailand. So a lot of those other, like when you're in America, for example, right? There's so many times where it feels like this agenda is being shoved down your throat, and I don't feel that at all here whatsoever, being here for almost a month now. So it is a really nice place to go to kind of get away from all the BS that, to be honest, if you've been living in the US for a while, which probably most of my viewers have, or even not just the US, but even in the West, you're so used to these narratives that it's probably a little bit hard for you to even notice on a day-to-day basis. I can definitely see how people mention reverse culture shock in that regard. I guess we'll see when I go back in January. And also, it's a very modern and international city as well. So a lot of people, when they think about Thailand, they imagine villages and small, not urban places, right? And I mean, you can totally find that, right? If you go to the provinces, you can find a lot of that. But in a city like Bangkok, it is one of the largest, most modern cities in the world. It's essentially their New York City over here. I wanted to live in a city. I didn't want to live like in a very remote place. And as you guys can see here from all the footage you've seen so far, is that it's a very lively place. There's actually people, walking around, unlike a lot of places in America, even in Austin, Texas, where I used to live. I mean, yeah, in the nightlife, there was a lot of people, but you walk around the street during the day and it's a ghost town compared to places like this. So it's nice to live in a place where it feels like things are happening, right? You see people, you encounter people on the day-to-day. I think that's part of the reason that a lot of Americans feel so isolated. And, there's the loneliness epidemic and stuff like that there. But in a place like this, you're always surrounded by people. Everything's lively. There's just so much going on. And another thing is this place is very walkable. You can walk to a lot of places. If it's too far away, there's a lot of options for public transit. Another thing that you don't typically see in America. It's really mind-boggling when you come to a place like this, how far behind the US is in terms of public transportation. And we kind of just accepted that at this point, right? But there's a nice train system here. You can see the SkyTrain right here that will go through the main areas of the downtown. And so you can, between that and the underground train, you can get to a lot of places. And whatever you can't get to through that, you can take motorbike taxis, you can take regular taxis as well through different apps. They're equivalent to Uber, essentially. And yeah, it's just very easy and accessible to get around here. You don't need a car or anything like that, which of course is a big requirement in America. There are are so many amazing food options here as well. If you love Thai food, well, of course the Thai food here is amazing, world class. If you ever heard people tell you just how good the food is in Thailand, they're not exaggerating, it's really that good. And here's the thing, it's not just Thai food, it is international options that you have. And this food is also absolutely amazing. As you can see on the screen here, I had some Singaporean chicken and rice. This is one of the staple foods over in Singapore, and this was really, really good. And I mean, that's just one small example. If you want Western food, you can find that as well. If you want, of course, any Asian food, you can find that. There's so many options for Japanese food, Korean food. And let me tell you, having been to those places, the food that you find, the Japanese and Korean and all this stuff, is just as good as you would find in that country. So amazing place to come if you enjoy some good food. And the next reason is that your money just goes so much further here. And this is for the same quality, or not higher quality than what you're typically used to in America. So that was definitely a big factor as well. In America, I was basically paying 4 or 5 times the price for the same or lower quality. Like, for example, I just left a 7-Eleven and I got a bottle of Coke Zero here. Now, in America, I routinely bought this for maybe about $2.50 or $3. Here, got the exact same bottle for essentially 50 cents. It was 19 baht, which right now is 51 cents, I believe. So yeah, that just goes to show there, exact same product, but you're just paying less. And I think one misconception that a lot of people don't realize is it's not necessarily that it's cheaper for them, but it's cheaper for you as someone that is earning in dollars. This is what is known as dollar arbitrage, and it's pretty much the biggest financial hack that you can take advantage of in the modern day. And if you're from the West and you've always wanted to live in a nice luxury high-rise apartment, you can find a 1-bedroom apartment with a view like this for only about $500 a month, which sounds absolutely unreal, but let me just say, that's not uncommon at all to find here. I've even heard of people finding places here like this for $400 a month. So definitely a lot of great affordable options for luxury living as well for a Westerner. Also, why I wanted to come here is that people are very welcoming. The Thai people are super friendly, super welcoming. And the same can't be said for a lot of countries in this region of the world. A lot of Asian countries are a little bit more siloed off, a little bit more, where you visit these other countries, sometimes you feel like you're intruding upon their land, right? You feel like, you definitely feel like an intruder to a degree in some of the other countries around here. But with here in Thailand, you feel very welcome. It's not just that they're allowing you to be here, they want you here. So that is definitely a positive as well when I was considering where to make my my new base. Also, everything is quite clean here as well compared to some of the US cities. Like when I was in Austin, for example, things were a little bit dirty there. If you guys have been to Austin, you know what I'm talking about, right? Especially in the nightlife areas, you want to go downtown where things are actually somewhat walkable and whatnot. You pay the price that it is pretty dirty, pretty grimy. Even in a place like Bangkok, right? It's not known for being the cleanest city in the world. Like if you compare it to, Tokyo or a lot of these cities in Japan, those are way cleaner, of course. But with that being said, it is actually quite clean here. The trains and all the public transit and stuff are a lot cleaner than the subway stations and you'd find in America and things like that as well. And it's also very safe here, right? A lot of people like South America as an option for expats, but one advantage, huge advantage that I think that Asia and specifically Thailand has over those places is it's a lot safer here. There's very little to no crime. I mean, there's crime everywhere you go in the world, right? But with that being said, the crime rate very, very low here. It's a very safe place to be overall. And another big factor was a return to the partial Asian roots that I have. My dad being from Bangladesh, just getting over to this side of the world was something that I was really keen to experience, and also to experience a completely different way of life as well. And yeah, circling back to the subject of more affordability, you can routinely find street food here for about $1 or even less in some cases. And this is not like really crappy, low quality food. Like some of these that you can find are actually really good, really delicious food. So it really comes down to how much you want to pay, but you have that option to eat street food for $1 if you want to. Just to re-emphasize all of this, I just got off the train the MRT, their underground train system. It took about a 20-minute train ride from Chinatown, where you saw me in the previous scene, to here around the area where I'm staying, and it was only 84 cents to do that. Now, how much would that be in America, right? And let's face it, right? If you're taking like public transit, like trains and stuff, you're probably in an unsafe environment. There might be a lot of homeless people. You might get mugged, right? New York City had the National Guard in there with rifles just to try to police this. So, you don't have to worry about that here. Everything is super clean, super respectful, super quiet, and you don't have any safety concerns like that. So definitely a super good deal in that department as well. After living here for a month, I can definitely say that Thai culture is way more in line with my own values. If you're from America or some kind of Western country, especially America, it just seems like people are in a rush all the time, right? Everyone is just in this grind mode 24/7, where they're basically living to work. Like in America, right? Like I normally, like sometimes on the street, like I walk slowly and stuff, and friends, people with me, they always complain of I'm walking too slow, right? Because everyone's just trying to get from point A to point B instantly, right? They want to do things quickly. Even when they're on their day off, they're still just always in a rush perpetually. But I found that in Thailand, that is not the case. People are more relaxed. People take their time. There's even a phrase here, sabai sabai, means to be relaxed. And yeah, it is a much different culture here. You can feel that people take their time here, and it's not as much of rushing to the next thing, or a little bit less of the grind mode all the time. And also another thing that I love about Thai culture is that they're less in your business. Like in America, everyone has an opinion about everything you say and do. They can be quite in your face about that, right? And even, not even just talking about the government and stuff like that, that's a whole nother discussion, right? But even people in your day-to-day, they're a lot more in your business in the West. But here, like no one really seems to care too much. And they do have a saying as well that roughly translates to live and let live. So it is a lot more freeing, it feels like, to live in a place like this. If this excites you and you want to do something similar, you want to gain your own freedom, send me a DM with the word freedom to my Instagram at Elevate Cyber, and we can put you on the path to learning a high-income skill set that is also remote, that would allow you to live a more free life wherever it is that you may be interested in visiting. But yeah, if you want to see my journey on how I got to Bangkok, Thailand, check out the video on screen right now. I'll see you guys right over there. Thanks for watching.